If you have a desire to become a better version of your current self, then this podcast is for you. I share with you helpful thoughts, tips, and stories surrounding fitness and self-improvement which you can apply to your life today. So for those of you that want to take control of your life, to learn, to grow, to become that which you desire most, I am your host, Connor Malone, and this is the pursuit of constant improvement. In today's episode, I'm going to be sharing with you ideas on how you can totally transform your life into becoming the type of person that you want to become. Because right now you're likely in a position where you maybe aren't happy. Maybe you are living a life by others' design. You are following what everybody else is doing and you're not happy with that. Now this is the position I was in before, so I'm going to be sharing with you tips and advice on how I totally changed that into a life by design. So you can live the type of life that you want to live, and you can start to pursue the things that you want to pursue. Because it all sounds very simple in terms of living life in your own terms and doing this and doing that. But in today's episode, I'm going to be going over the actual things that you need to do in order to start making that change. It's going to be revolving a lot around habits. But one of the things I want to make very clear is that so much of this comes from your attitude. It comes from your perspective, the way that you see the world. To actually change, you need to be open to it. If you've constantly got a closed mind or a victim's mentality, none of this is going to work. You may as well just switch off this episode now. But if you are in a position where you genuinely want to improve, which I assume you are because you're listening to this podcast, then this is going to be a great opportunity for you. It's going to be an opportunity for you to face some of the things you may not have faced before, some of the harsh realities, and how to turn that around and start becoming the type of person that you want to be. So you can wake up every day and actually want to do the things that you're doing. Because that's what I wasn't doing previously. I was waking up and I was lazy. I was never doing things that I knew I should have been doing, and inevitably I lacked purpose. I lacked direction. Whereas now my life is full of purpose. It's full of direction, and I'm not saying it's perfect by any means, but I fucking love the things I'm doing on a daily basis. I don't just mean with my work. I mean with my habits. I mean with myself. I'm happy with the type of person that I'm looking to become. By no means have I achieved everything I want, but I'm happy with where I'm going. And it's like an incredible position to be in. See, if you're probably listening to this and you probably can relate to this. If you want to be in a position where you're just happy with where you're going in life, then that's what we're going to go through today. Because there's nothing worse, there's nothing more powerless than when you're going through life and you feel like you're just being dragged through it. You're not actually progressing towards anything. You're not following any specific direction. You're not sure what you want or where you're going. Whereas in today's episode, we're going to totally change that from here. So as I said, this is far more than just habits. This has a lot to do with your mindset and your attitude. Because if you have a negative attitude, you'll never be able to apply these things we're going to talk about today. And I want to start by saying that the position you're in right now is likely where you deserve to be. So if you aren't happy right now, that's probably based off of your actions. Okay, we are all in a certain position in life because of our previous actions. It's how life works. The actions you put in today, this week and next month will dictate where you end up in years to come. So if you aren't happy with where you are right now, what you need to do is, rather than blaming others or blaming certain situations, you need to take complete ownership of that. Realize that you are today where exactly you deserve to be, but you can change that. You can take ownership of that. Because when I was younger, I was about 19, 20, I used to blame everything else. I used to blame school. I used to blame the education system. Bullshit. Total rubbish. Took no ownership for anything. Whereas when you start taking ownership for your own decisions, your own previous actions, you become free, because you're like, right, okay, I take total ownership for that. Now I'm going to take ownership of my future decisions and I'm going to change that. Whereas, as I said, if you keep blaming others and blaming other things, that's never going to change. So one of the key concepts I want is that by the end of this episode, if you change your attitude even in the slightest bit to taking more ownership of where you are right now, you stop blaming others and you start taking action, that is all I can ask of you. That is what I'm wanting by the end of this episode. Now, right now, as I said, you're probably not where you want to be. You're probably not feeling how you want to feel. And to change the way we feel, we have to change the way we act. As simple as that. So the two main concepts I'm going to go through today are the things that you should and shouldn't be doing, how we remove things that we shouldn't be doing, and how we do more of the things that we know we should be doing. Sounds, again, very simple, but there's a reason you're not doing it, because it isn't easy. But let's dive right into it. So first of all, we need to look at What not to do or what to remove. There's a Latin phrase that's called via negativa, and what it means is addition by removal. We add to our life by removing things. We get better things in life by taking things away, which is a strange concept because we always think we add, we improve. But that isn't always the case. When we remove things, we tend to get better results. And it's always a great starting position. So where I start with clients, like when I take on a new online client, they're not where they want to be with their own improvement, with their routine, with their physique, with their mindset. They're in a position where they don't like, they're unhappy. It's not because they're not doing certain things necessarily, it's because of the things they are doing. So I look into their lifestyle, I look into all of their habits and say, right, what are the things that you're doing that are making you feel the way that you're feeling? And a lot of time they won't be able to point it out until we ask certain questions, like where they're spending most of their time, who they're spending their time with, what habits are they actually doing, how much time are they spending on their phone, what environments are they spending their time in. Once we start to look into these things, we start to realize, oh shit, no wonder I feel the way I feel. Because all I'm doing is sitting scrolling on my phone, is sitting overeating all the time, I'm oversleeping. So no wonder you feel the way you feel. Again, taking it back to what I said in the beginning, the way you feel right now is based off of your actions. So we need to change that. Once we start to change these actions, we change how we feel. Lead with the body, the mind will follow. A quote I really like from there. Now, the first way to do this is we audit our lifestyle. Again, what I do with my clients, I send them a lifestyle audit, they answer all these questions and then talk through them on a call. With that, we go through and deep dive into their life. But for you yourself, just look at your daily basis. Write out in a list simply what you do on a day-to-day basis. I mean from the very first second that you wake up. You wake up, don't say wake up, get out of bed, brush teeth, or eat breakfast, brush teeth, put clothes on, go to work. You don't do that. You wake up, you snooze your alarm 3 times. You roll over, you pick up your phone, you scroll through Instagram for 10 minutes. You then roll out of bed, you then can't find your breakfast, you then grab anything you can, you then realise you're late for work and you rush things. Maybe that's the harsh reality of what actually you're doing in the morning. Well, you have to write that down. So whatever you're doing from the second you wake up to the second you go to bed, write it down. And for a lot of you, it should scare the shit out of you. If you are getting up, snoozing your alarm, looking at your phone, scrolling through your phone, not having enough time for breakfast, going to a job you don't like, getting stuck in traffic, you're coming home, you're scrolling on your phone, you're going on your Xbox, you're maybe talking to people you don't even like that much. What type of life is that? But you're not taking enough time to zoom out and reflect on that, to realise that this isn't the position that you want to be in. You just feel, you're like, oh, I don't feel good and I don't know why. Well, look at what you're doing, audit that. As I said, one of the first things I do with my clients, an incredible way to do it from there, figure out what those things are, start to remove them. The people you spend your time around, the habits that you're doing. Are you spending too much time on your phone? Are you watching too much TV? Are you overeating food you shouldn't be eating? Look at these things, pick out what to remove. Because from this episode, I already told you what I want you to gain from before the end of this episode. But if you're going to do anything from a habits perspective, I don't want it to be adding new habits. I want it to be removing. So you reduce these bad habits. So think of what's causing all this chaos, this destruction, this inconsistency in your life, and then work to remove that from there. Now, another thing that will greatly help with this, and something that needs to be removed, and this is all about your attitude and your mindset, is complaining. Marcus Aurelius says, never be heard complaining even to yourself. Do you know why? Because fuck all good comes from it. What good comes from complaining? And you might say, well, I'm venting. Well, are you venting? Then great, that's fine. Speaking to others about your problems is a great thing to do, but not complaining. Complaining often means that there's blame passed to someone else. It means maybe you're probably complaining about things that are totally out of your control. You're complaining about the news, you're complaining about other people, you're gossiping about people. That's a sure way to make yourself feel like shit, to make yourself lack energy, to make yourself just feel bad in general. So never be heard complaining, not even to yourself. This was something, I'd never read about this. It was just something I took on. I think it was from my dad. My dad has never been a person to complain. I never ever hear him complain. If something he's done, he'll let you know about it, but he never complains. Never about anything he's done or anyone else has done. And that was one of the things I must have unconsciously picked up on and started doing myself. I remember reminding myself of this when I was like 19, 20, when I first started really focusing on my improvement. I wouldn't speak aloud. There was 2 things I never spoke aloud. I never complained, and I never spoke about my goals to other people, because nothing good came from either of them. Because when you speak about your goals, you get so excited. You're like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then you just go, oh, fuck. Because you get that feeling that you've already achieved it. You get that dopamine response that you would get from achieving that goal. So 2 things never to do. Don't be heard complaining. Don't talk about your goals to everyone and anyone. Keep them to your smallest circle. People that you trust, people that can help you with it and push you towards it. But yeah, never be heard complaining, even to yourself. Don't talk about negative things all the time, because what do you expect but to be negative if all you do is talk negatively? You complain about other people. You watch the news and complain about it. Fuck that. So again, a very important lesson for Marcus Aurelius: venting is not complaining. Let me be very clear on that. If you want to vent, if you want to share your thoughts and feelings, that is fine, but do not complain about them. Nothing good comes from it. Now, once we have focused on removing things, removing bad habits, removing bad environments, bad people maybe necessarily, of course then you have time to add things. James Clear actually talks about this a lot in his book Atomic Habits, is replacing bad habits with good habits. It's a better way to make them stick. Rather than removing a bad habit and leaving this big empty gap, it's a good idea to replace it. For example, let's say you know your friends are not your true friends. Maybe they're just friends by default because you went to school with them, but you don't even really want to spend that much time with them. If you just remove them, then you have no friends, and you're going to have a lot of free time in your hands, and you're probably not going to like that. So what you'd have to do is then replace that. It's the same with any other habits. You can replace it with a good habit. So again, we always focus on removing first, but then we add after. Now, when it comes to adding habits, this is when the real improvement in terms of pursuing constant improvement starts. Because we can see improvements in said habits, in training in the gym, and reading, listening to audiobooks, and journaling, and all these things. We can start to see improvement. This is one of the best parts about self-improvement, is the fact that a lot of it is trackable. When you're in the gym, you can track your sessions, you can track your nutrition, you can see changes in your body. It's a great thing to do. It's a great thing to get you on the path to becoming the type of person you want to be. Now, bringing it back to that negativity audit and realising what you don't need in your life, start to think of what you do need in your life. Think of the type of person you want to become, or people you want to be like, for good reason, not because they're famous or anything like that, or they have high status. Like, what do they have that you want? Is it a family? Is it a certain type of relationship? Is it a certain type of job? Is it confidence? Is it authority? What is that thing that they have that you want? But what habits can you bring into your life to help you get there? That's a great place to start, because we've done this negativity audit, but what we can do is do an audit on what we want, what we bring into our life. That could be the aspect of training. Like, it could be going to the gym, it could be going out running. What do you want to bring into your life? Then you can look to do it. Again, some of the habits I highly recommend are, of course, reading, because they inspire new thoughts. It's not just about learning and improving your knowledge. They inspire new thoughts. It's great for your actual mind. It's great to take you away from your day and spend time not on a screen, but on a page. It's a lot more natural than just the screen. Listen to podcasts, listen to audiobooks like you're doing right now. Good fucking job, because you could be doing something else with your time, but you've chosen to listen to something that can help you improve. It's a great thing to do when you're in the gym, when you're in the car. You can start to listen to these things. Now, there's a quote from Socrates about training that I basically, that was one of the first things that got me into taking my training seriously. And it's how does the quote go? No man has the right to be an amateur in the matter of physical training, for it is a shame for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength of which his body is capable. When I heard that quote, I was like, fuck, that makes so much sense. Like, you have such a gift here. Nobody has the right to be an amateur in that. You have a lot of beauty, a lot of strength. It's all a gift. So once you start to bring that into your life, that totally changed my perspective on what training was and all these things. So I started to pursue that with far more confidence, because of how it would make me feel. So again, when you're removing habits, when you're bringing in habits, think about, how is this going to make me feel? Might not feel great at the time, but how's it going to make me feel in the future? A great way to do it. Now, a couple other habits you can do: put yourself up for review, in the sense of a daily or a weekly review. Look back in your day, look back in your week. What went well? What didn't go well? What are you grateful for? What could you do to improve? Asking yourself questions like this is self-improvement to a T. I have my own weekly review questions. If you want them, drop me a message. Literally just say, Connor, can I get your weekly review questions? I'll send them over to you. I use the same 5 questions every single week. I usually share them on my Instagram story, so you'll be able to take them from there. But a really good self-improvement habit that helps you not only push towards becoming the type of person you want to be, but it helps you realise what type of person you want to be. Because every week you're introspecting, you're looking at yourself. What do you want? What do you not want? Because when you do that on a regular basis, you can actually push forward with it. And that's an element of journaling. Like, with journaling, all you're doing is just introspection. You're sharing your thoughts, you're sharing your ideas. There's gratitude journaling, but then there's just journaling as well. You can use a prompt. It can ask you things, or you can just write down what's in your mind. A really good way to find out more about yourself. And the more you find out about yourself, the more you're able to push forward and progress. Now, the main takeaways from today's episode is the fact that to change the way we feel, we have to change the way we act. You're not happy with where you are right now. You want to be in a different position, so you need to change the way you act. That can be done by doing two things: removing and adding. Focus first on removing bad from your life, then focus on the addition of good things. Again, where you can replace bad things with good things. Before you do that, you have to start with the mindset. You have to start taking ownership of the position you're in right now. You have to get rid of this, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that bullshit. Take ownership for where you are right now and start taking action. It's the best thing you can do. I understand that. I've been there where I used to blame other people. I used to blame everything else but me and my lack of action. But see, today, if I'm not where I want to be, I need to face the reality that that's my fault. You're in the exact position right now is where you deserve to be. So let's make a change. You can start that by removing those bad habits and then start to, of course, change your good habits from there. Now, I said in the beginning of this episode, if you're going to take anything away, it would be this. It would be you take it in ownership, you don't blame anyone, and you take action. So if you've started to do any of those three things, or you want to do any of those three things, then you've gained all the value you could possibly gain from this episode. As ever, I have a quote to leave you with by the Stoic philosopher Epictetus, one of my favourites, and it is about self-improvement. He says, "Just as one person delights in improving his farm and another his horse, so I delight in attending to my own improvement day by day." And what he means by this is everybody has their own set functions in their day. They have their own things that they attend to. It might be their work. A farmer would be their farm. To me and to you, it should be your improvement. Tend to your improvement every single day. That could be by journaling, gratitude journaling or written journaling, whatever it has to be. It could be by training. See these things as attending to your own improvement throughout the rest of your life. It's a great way to perceive that. Don't see this as a chore. See this as you as attending to that every day, because the more you do that, the better it becomes. If something is left untouched, it tends to degrade. The same as with your own improvement. Attend to it every day, work on it, and you'll push forward. You'll start to become that type of person that you want to become, rather than being stuck exactly where you are. Now, as ever, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I hope you can take something from this, whether that is with the removal of bad habits or the addition of some of the habits I went over. Of course, as I said, the mindset is always where we start, the way we perceive the world. So that should be where you start in terms of pushing forward in your own pursuit of constant improvement. Thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next one.